Hello and welcome to the third week of Social Media for Social Innovation. I'm Stephen Laddick. This week we're going to be exploring the idea of market leadership. This essentially means understanding how you can become a voice of authority that others will not only listen to, but that they'll actually tell their friends and family about. For our purposes, market leadership really has two aspects. First, how do you curate content so that you're gathering information that is purposeful and has meaning for your market, and using that curation process to own a unique and compelling voice. The idea of curating a market is really no more complicated than creating purposeful content. So I'm sure you're familiar with a museum or an art gallery. In both of those cases, when you walk into the halls of a museum or an art gallery, you're presented with a collection or a series or an exhibit. Really, that exhibit is just a purposeful placement of information for the audience to convey a particular idea or a thought or an experience to the audience. That's what curating is. In the information age, we're overwhelmed with information, and it's become a task to find content that has meaning for us and really matters. As a social innovator, when you curate a market, your goal is to actively gather and then distill information that you find to add value to those people participating in the market. Effective curation is a matter of consistency. Your audience craves predictability, and so as you become a market leader, you need to make sure that you show up time and again at the same time, at the same place, so that your audience knows where to find you and knows where to tune into to listen. The second aspect of market leadership is voice. It's one thing to create unique content for the marketplace, but you also need to use the content creation process to develop a unique voice that transmits or embodies a collection of values that others can align themselves with. Again, I'd like to use the idea of an art gallery as a way to explain how to create a voice. When an art gallery wants to have a particular opinion or present a particular viewpoint about a part of their market, let's say impressionists, they'll go out and they'll choose particular impressionist artists or a single artist, and they'll take a piece from their collection, or they will take a selection of artists in particular that have a particular message through their work, and they'll present that in an exhibit in order to convey a very particular viewpoint. And different art galleries would choose different artists, or they would choose different pieces of work so that the exhibit that they create actually conveys the brand and the values and the impressions or the perceptions that the gallery wants their audience to have, their target audience, that their target audience will probably align themselves with. You can do the same thing with your idea or business to make sure that you're speaking with your target audience or those who are most likely to be interested in consuming your ideas or products. As you consistently show up with your curated content, a voice that embodies who you are and what you value emerges out of that curation process, because you're going to choose things that you're interested in and you think that add value and are important. This ultimately is what your audience will align themselves with or not. As a concrete example of market leadership, I think we can use the analogy of a simple coffee shop. So let's say that you are in a city that you've never been to before and you need a cup of coffee. And on one side of the street, you have a Starbucks, and on the other side of the street, you have a local coffee shop, that you've never heard of before. Now, withhold any opinions about Starbucks, of course, but Starbucks over the last decade or so has done an incredible job of content creation or content curation. They've produced advertising. They have been well known in all sorts of media outlets. They've aligned themselves with musicians and artists. You know a lot about where they produce their coffee from or where they get their coffee from, whether or not they're fair trade, etc., etc. And again, regardless of opinion, you know a ton about Starbucks. You know the experience that you're going to have, you know what to expect, and you know what sort of, basically you know what you're going to get if you walk into a Starbucks and give them the $5 for a cup of coffee. On the other hand, the other coffee shop, especially if you're new to this town, you've never heard of them. So even if they've done a good job locally of curating content and being good in the local community, you'll never make the choice to go there because you don't know what you're going to get. You could walk in, it could be smoky, it could, the coffee could be terrible, or maybe they don't have the kind of coffee that you like. The point of the story is that by producing content on that consistent and regular basis, Starbucks has created that image. They've created that leadership position because you know what you're going to get. The second aspect we want to consider is about voice. And we can again use the same analogy of a coffee shop. This time we want to talk about Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. Both of these brands are very well known, at least in the United States, and directly compete for the attention of consumers through market curation. As each of them have curated the market, they have focused on particular aspects of the company or where their coffee is produced or some other aspect of their business to create an image or a voice around the products and services that they deliver. As a consumer, based upon your tastes and preferences and the set of values that you have, you'll likely choose one or the other because it aligns better with who you think you are and how you'll be satisfied with that experience at the coffee shop. This same concept applies again to being a social innovator or having a social enterprise. There's going to be many flavors of the same idea, and what you need to do through your market leadership activities is try to create that unique voice that people can align themselves with in order to make a choice in a confused market. Now, before you can begin to practice market leadership, you have to first understand what a market is, how to find a niche within that market, and what audience you're targeting or your target audience. And that's what the readings and the materials that we provided below are designed to do in this course. I hope you'll enjoy this module of the course, and I look forward to interacting with you in the forums. Thanks.